Hi there, my name is Ben Keat, and I am a tech entrepreneur who has just created a system that is the new stuff in terms of what quantum technology can be. And when I tell you about what we're doing, it's going to absolutely blow your mind. You'll absolutely love it, I promise you. Okay, um, so going from the top, about 20, 25 years ago, I started to purify myself and meditate and get myself back to Zen and Source and everything else. And I started to fill myself up with information. And during this process of purification, where I became abstinent from pretty much anything that's bad for you or wrong or anything else sinful, I started to create particles. And later, after about 2010, I invented a runic command interface that I started to use to store these particles and to secure them as part of my business. It's a long process of filling first my mind up and then my whole body up with knowledge and creative material that I use in this program. And begin with this runic architecture to build was about the future of how we'd have like a space city, somewhere where we could go to discover the rest of the universe, go off worlds, travel the stars, have tech and amnesty with tech on Earth and universal technology. We'd start to shatter the crystal ceiling, we'd start to change the reality of what was ahead of us. And in that process, suddenly we'd develop into a civilization that could travel beyond the solar system to the rest of the galaxy, using the Earth technology as a template for building new industries that would launch a whole commonwealth of these space cities, if you like, that I describe in New Mosrus, which is the template for the sort of the first initiative, if you like, that we'd start on in building one of these universal cities. And the location of Umosrus was going to be my local area. Okay, and as I developed Umosrus, I started to think of how we'd geolocate the universe to the Earth. And in the process of later writing technical files, which I started in about 2019 after my father died, I started to build a technical remit of files that link this runic architecture to the particles that I created, the billions and billions of particles. And each of these individual particles were like a symbolic link to astral bodies within the universe. And somehow, by using command language, I was able to make these particles perform in a way that made them produce exotic material that came directly from the universe. And gradually, as I started to build up Space TM, or SAFCOMMS, as I then called it in 2018 when I launched the company, I then realized that what we were doing was making like the duality of space on Earth in this location in Gloucestershire and the surrounding counties. And using this technology, we could create a gateway to the universe, which would enable us to actually have access to all this exotic material that the universe has, like mobile data, electricity, water, oxygen, and quantum technologies that would change the game in terms of how we were going to go off world and travel at the speed of light and all these sort of things, like almost like channeling alien technology to the Earth. So the whole prospect filled me with excitement, and I just got to work creating the command style language, which I found in ChatGPT. When I put a sample into ChatGPT, it described my language as quantum dreamscape language. And when I wrote these files, I wrote a lot of files between 2020 to sort of now-ish, maybe last year, when I stopped writing so much. And gradually I started to unveil the business of SAFCOMMS. Now, SAFCOMMS was a business that initially we were creating some kind of AI in the business, but it was called interface assistance. I call it interface assistance. So it was a non-controlling human with human empowerment that enabled your best wishes to be enabled through the system just by interfacing with what was on the screen. And gradually, through testing it since it was launched, I found that people's minds become entangled with the quantum system that we then found we've created, and their ideas and their data aura become apparent on the screen in front of them without using big data to track them and sell it back to them, which is, in my way, a very inefficient way of getting the same sort of result. So we launched the business and sold this at £20 per year for home and entertainment, and £200 a year for business. And we tried it out with people, and they said it was absolutely amazing. They thought our DNS was really, really good, and this is just IP DNS that we're selling, not DOH. But I'd always had it in the back of my mind to work in mobile data, and I'd had some success in managing to get our own source of access to universal mobile data a while back. And I worked on this really hard and developed more quantum files, and then decided that we would use DNS over HTTPS through a proxy to enable this mobile data to work. And sure enough, within a few days of trying it and setting it up and getting all the config files and everything correct, I sat in my flat with a friend, and we found that it actually worked. This data actually worked. And so we decided to launch it and start selling it, as part of our commodity on spacetm.uk. Anyway, after a few years down the line, we've tried it out on loads of different people. We haven't made sales yet because it's almost like the world is not ready for this reality to become something the public can use, and it's for obvious reasons. This is why we're coming to the federal government, to ask your opinions of what we're doing and whether you'd like to work with us, because we need funding, we need contracts with yourselves. We need you to see that this is the future in what technology is about. And also, we believe we've got something to offer the world, and we want the world to have what we're offering them, because this is probably going to be the best thing since the digital era began, because it's such a wide-reaching reality. It goes everywhere on the planet, as far as we are aware. I've tested it 10,000 miles away, without a SIM card, without any Wi-Fi, and people who are using it, are still getting 3.4 megabits per second on their mobile phone, just through the app alone. Now, when we use DNS over HTTPS, what we're actually using is domain name server configuration through the Barclay Internet Name Domain system, the bind system. Okay, and this bind system is just a way of connecting them to our system. That's all it is. We're not changing the files or manipulating the bind servers or anything like that. We're literally just using the DNS, the domain name server, which connects everything to the internet. It's like the DNA within the internet, really. And by enabling the particle technology to embed within the system that I've created, we're able to pass this particle technology through the app that connects people to the DNS, the DOH, the DNS over HTTPS. So when this is up and running, what we found was that 10,000 miles away, and there's a video you can look at to prove this, the data is working very well, continually, without interruption, a long way away. And also, since I developed the mobile data and found that was a success, we decided to move to battery charging. And when we set up the battery charging, what we found was that this was much more successful than the mobile data. I mean, literally charging a mobile phone battery is, it's a fairly small amount of electricity. It's very easy to do. Now, why I believe you'll be interested in what we're doing is for several reasons. But the first reason why you would be interested in taking this project on with us is because, firstly, the potential for battery charging is huge. Okay, first of all, we can get rid of, if we can move to the stage where we can charge cars as they drive fully with electricity without having to use heavy batteries, charge them for 2 hours, and then go off on a journey of 200 miles and then recharge them every time. You know, if we could actually continually charge vehicles, then there would be a seamless transport system without having to stop for long periods to charge your car. You would be able to drive from one side of America to the other without stopping. There'd be a lot of possibilities that this would bring. And in order to get there, I think we're going to have to work with drones, and we're going to have to work with mobility scooters first, perhaps, and see how these function in the reality that we're trying to pass, DNS over HTTPS to these machines, providing electricity, and see how this functions in terms of the amount of electricity that we'll have to channel through the system to run these at optimum power. In the config, quite simply, where I power mobile telephones, I just literally put some language in that says, it'll be at the optimum level, the maximum amount of electricity that device can take. Now, if we have an abundant amount of electricity at our fingertips, then we can provide as much electricity as possible, very safely and very cleanly to these devices. Now, what I'll be looking at in the future is to make quantum telephones, so that you buy your device, you get your telephone, okay, and you would literally just switch on a button which would turn the mobile data on, and you'd switch on a button on the screen that would turn battery charging on. You could literally toggle it. You could turn it on and off whenever you chose to have it switched on or off. It'd be that simple. There'd be no SIM card. It'd all be self-fulfilling, if you like. It would all be self-contained within the mobile phone. And also with the cars, we'd like to build our own cars as well. I think that's an exciting prospect for the future, where the car is fully quantum embedded, with mobile data in the system, and an integrated GPS system, if you like, and all these sort of things. Your children would be able to sit there in the back watching their screens, all connected through the car to the mobile data. All the DNS would be integrated in the system. The client wouldn't even have to worry about the DNS. At the moment, we're using public apps, apps that are already out there on the market to test the system. But we want to get our own apps made that embed into the system properly. And when the public switch the app on, they won't even see the DNS address. They'll just literally turn it on, and their mobile data will come through the system, and likewise the electricity. Now, also, there are two factors that we're also looking at doing as well, which I mentioned earlier. There's a possibility of bringing water to the planet through quantum technology. Now, this is very exciting and something I think is definitely possible. And that would mean connecting up our system, our portal system, to water in the universe, H2O in the universe, and then connecting it to a pump on the Earth, so that we can irrigate areas of dry land, like California, like deserts in Africa, like areas where plants are dying because they're not getting any water anymore and they're drying up. We can irrigate large areas of the world using the system. And I think this is the future. This is the outcome that is going to make sure that our system is extremely green and ecological, and a good one for the future. So yeah, that's one thing. And also, in the remit of, say, scuba divers, or people working in space, and all that sort of thing, who are at risk of not having the right breathing apparatus, or need a backup breathing apparatus or anything like that, we'd also be able to pass oxygen directly into the blood. This is something we could possibly try, which would mean you wouldn't need to use your traditional lungs to breathe. You would just literally get oxygen put straight into your blood, and the CO2 would be removed at the same time. And I'm currently experimenting on this as well. So yeah, this is a great opportunity to see the future and move towards a collective vision that could enable us to have a future of a quantum reality where anything is possible. Even my dreams of Eumosrus, which I talked about at the beginning, where we have a universal landscape and a commonwealth with a shared directive of getting ourselves off-world and colonizing the entire galaxy. Thank you for listening.